Good afternoon everybody, how are we all? Welcome back to the Stamps by Me studio. My name's Claire Manning from Thirsty Brush and I'm here on a Sunday at 1 p.m. and on a Thursday at 1 p.m. Doing some live demos for you using our Thirsty Brush designs. So this one on a Sunday is pre-recorded, but I am around on the comments below, so do pop in and say hello or hi. It's like a combo of the two. And leave me a comment, let me know what you think, any questions, and I'm absolutely around to answer anything for you. So before we get crafting today, I have got a couple of little announcements for you. If you check out our Thirsty Brush Facebook page, just in case you missed it, from a couple of days ago, we did a Facebook Live talking about the new release that we've got on Create and Craft on Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, the 7th of October at 12:45. So do head over to the Facebook page or Instagram, follow me on my YouTube channel as well, Claire Manning Craft, and that will keep you all up to date on all of the details of that new release, any future releases and things like that. And check out some of the samples that the design team girls have posted on those social medias as well, because they have had an absolute ball with these new designs, and I'm really excited to do loads of demos for you on the live Create and Craft show on Wednesday. So as you know, let's get crafting, because it's not about selling stuff here on the YouTube channel. However, the one set that I am using today, I thought I will let you know that we are doing an offer on it, and a couple of other sets that we have been all week, and it finishes tomorrow, so this is your last day to get hold of it. So you know, it is about techniques and it is about learning on this channel, but I feel like I'm doing you a disservice if I don't tell you if there is an offer on. So let me show you, just to recap in case you missed the show on Thursday, which designs are included in the offer. So this one's called Special Day, and it's a beautiful magnolia set. A5 all the stamp sets are, and the offer is, if you put that in your basket and check out either via the Thirsty Brush website, thirstybrush.co.uk, or the stampsbyme.co.uk, we automatically send you for free the coordinating die set. That isn't true to size there, the dies actually go round the full images that you can see here. So that's the one. This is one that you've probably seen on my social media, called Born Beautiful, that I've posted a couple of videos on recently. So that again is buy the stamp, get the die free. This is the one I used on Thursdays. This one's called You're Invited. It's got loads of wedding sentiments, but does do well as well for lavender kind of calming images. So take a look at Thursday's show, and again, buy the stamp and get the die free. This Camellia one, where you can build up your own bouquets and designs. This one's called From the Heart. Again, buy the stamp, get the die free. And this one has some really cool detail where it kind of cuts in. You can curl up the petals. Again, I think there is a tutorial on that on my own YouTube, Claire Manning Craft. And this is the one I'm going to use today. From our very successful, we did some herbs, I think in our first year, late 2018 or early 2019, and this is the Thyme and Mint one with some real fun, like punny sentiments like good times, spelt like the herb, and we were meant to be instead of meant to be. So this is what I'm going to be using today, and again, you get the dies that do outlines and matte and layers. But the techniques that I'm going to show you, you can absolutely do with other stamps that you've got in your set, either Thirsty Brush ones or something else if you haven't got any of ours yet. So what I'm going to be doing is stamping and heat embossing with gold, and then I'm going to colour in using some pencils. So let's get the stamping bit done first. I've got a couple of bits of black card. Grab my Eureka. And I'm going to do a kind of around the edge design on my card, where all of the herbs and leaves and things like that are all kind of coming in off the page. But to do that, first of all, I just need to literally just stamp out, whoops, the designs. Sorry, excuse me a second. Just drop that magnet. So do say hi, let me know what you've been up to since I last saw you on Thursday. If you've done anything exciting this weekend, I'd love to know. And if you're looking forward to the new release on Wednesday, I certainly am. It's been about a month, I think, since I was last on Create and Craft, so can't wait to be back. So let's see how many we can fit in here. Let's do these two and then we can do them again. So I'm heat embossing with our infamous Gold Digger powder, which is one of our luminosity embossing powders. So it's super shiny gold. It looks quite kind of matte gold there, but wait until you see it heat embossed. It really does go shiny, and it seems to be everybody's favourite, which is why we've done these huge pots as well as the normal little ones. And I'm using, to go with that, you can use any embossing ink that you've got, any kind of clear sticky ink, but I'm using obviously our luminosity one, which works perfectly with it. So this is a thyme design with all the little branches. Could even work as like, there is a rosemary one, but I suppose you could do the two, or that could be like a heather if you coloured it in pinks and purples. And then I've even seen people use this mint leaf as like a poinsettia as well. So I've just gone in twice with the embossing ink just to double check that it's absolutely there. Let's wipe down my stamp. Oh God, I'm dropping everything today. Just give that stamp a clean, because it does get sticky with the embossing ink. And then I've got a little piece of scrap card somewhere to catch my powder. Where have I put that? There we go. So you can't see anything at the moment because it's clear ink, and then when we pour this over, it's going to stick to where we've stamped. So it's stuck to it there. Not shiny yet, but that will change as soon as we heat set. And I always put the lid back on before I heat set, because the amount of times I've turned it on and it kind of blows a little bit, doesn't it? And then I've ended up with bits everywhere. I'll just heat up my heat tool for a second. There we go, you can see it start to, as it changes. And it's that lovely classic gold. So when I go in, I'm going to colour in with some pencils. And those lovely kind of natural greens and earthy tones are going to be complemented really well by that gold. Of course, if you haven't got any embossing supplies at all, don't worry, you can still make this card. Just do it on a white piece of card with your black or your grey ink, whatever you've got at home. So I'm just giving it a little rub just to, now it's cool, just to get rid of any of that anti-static powder that was dulling it down. So there we go, that's really effective already. So let's colour it in before I die cut them out. And I've done an extra one there, may need more, we'll see how we get on. And I'm using, I got these in a week, these Faber-Castell pencils, which I'm absolutely in love with. And again, I'm not here to sell them to you because I don't even sell them myself, but I'm just absolutely obsessed with them at the moment. So I'm going to pick out some greens. So I'm trying to think like a mint leaf, even though mint, the colour as in what you would think a mint green is quite pale, but the actual leaves of a mint plant are quite like a true green. So the great thing about pencils, and these are like oil based, is that you can use them on your dark colours. You might use some white as well to do some highlights. And let's see, maybe that kind of earthy one. In fact, let's go wild. Let's get a couple of different ones out and we can maybe do a bit of shading. I think that'll do for now, but I'll leave those aside just in case. So to make it really stand out, what happens if we do like a base of white very lightly? And then what happens if we go in, just using this side piece to test, see what happens. See that, I think that stands out a little bit more then, doesn't it? So what I'll do is just go around the leaf, stick shading. I mean, technically there's no right or wrong, but I just find I prefer how that looks when I build up layers of colour in light strokes and light layers. So I'm just doing it all over the leaves. So when I said the other day on social media that I'd got hold of these pencils, loads of you were like, oh my God, I've got them too, I love them. I never really felt like I was very good at pencil colouring before, but I feel like it's hard to go wrong with these, to be honest. And the colours are so beautiful. But again, if you're not embossing, you can still do this and colouring, having just stamped with your normal inks. And if you haven't got pencils, don't worry, try some watercolour, try, I don't know, whatever pens that you've got at home. You might have your alcohol-based ones, you might have your water-based ones, you might just have some standard pencils. Before these, me and my daughter were just using some of the Staedtler ones, the kind of school grade, and they were giving me decent enough results, but I just never felt like I was using them properly. But then when you start to use some artist grade ones, you do see a difference. But it's got to be right, hasn't it? And whatever you've got at home, sometimes you want to do it that day or whatever your budget allows. Okay, so have a look at these two different greens. It's not a huge amount of difference. I'm going to go in with the lighter one first. Lighter of the two. And try some flicks as well. And your embossing is resisting as well, stopping me going over the lines too much. So again, I'm just starting with a light layer of the green, but we'll go in a bit heavier and make it darker in places for some light and shade as we go along. And I find it easy to just turn rather than having to work around. I just turn my work. add some darker. Now I'm pressing a little harder now. Now we're building up that colour. You see we're starting to build some texture and light and shade. I mean, it is a dark green, so it's not going to come up really, really bright. But that's fine. I just want there to be some contrast between the few different leaves that I'm going to do. So it's got a variation of shades of green on my card when it's all put together and finished. And then just this slightly lighter one, just going to blend. At home I would be spending much more time and taking this blending much slower. So you'll be able to do that as well and really go in, and sometimes I had like 4 and 5 layers. If you have a look at a video I did the other day of a lily, and it took the whole thing, I mean it wasn't a stamp, it was a drawn image, but the whole thing took about an hour and a half. Obviously that would be a bit of a long video for you guys. But if you really want to see how to build up the layers, there we go. So we can get like a really nice green effect there. So let's do the other one. Let's do this little thyme first. So I'm going in again with that white, just very loosely, just so the green I put on the top will pop even more. Keep your pencils nice and sharp as well. This is starting to get it a little bit blunter now. I would probably sharpen normally at this point. So let me know if you haven't got these pencils, if you do other pencil colouring, leave me a comment and let me know what other pencils you've got. I know some people have got the Prismacolor, some people have got the, what's the other ones I've got? Chameleon, I think, the double-ended ones, but I've only used them a few times. Again, I've never really got on with them that much, but maybe I just haven't got enough colours. So let me know what you use. While I've got the white in my hand, I'm just going over this other mint leaf. I'm going to go slightly thicker with the white coat. See if we can get this one looking a little bit lighter than the other one, just for some contrast again. And you might be thinking, well, if she's colouring that in white, why doesn't she just emboss it and stamp it onto white paper? But I really wanted to see how well these pencils worked on the black paper, and because you get that depth of colour, and when I die cut out I've still got the 1mm border, and that's going to be black, so it's going to make these leaves and herbs really pop out when I put them onto a white background on my card. So I'm going quite quick and messy here now. I would be taking a bit more care normally. So that's all the white done. Let's have a look what greens we've got left. So again, combo of like flicks and normal strokes. This is a different shade to that one, so it's going to come up a different colour. What I really like about these herb designs as well is that they work really well for home decor pieces, for gifts and things. I did a big like frame with, I think there was 8 different herb designs in total over the different sets. And I've seen other people who've done this kind of thing as well and stamp them all out and have them all framed in sections, and the stamps come with the herb names in there, so you've got a lovely scrolly font. Let me show you. Of mint and thyme there as well. So I put those underneath each stamped and watercoloured image, and then displayed them in a frame and had that hanging in my kitchen for ages. I think it's now in my shop on the wall. So if you spend a bit of time and blend really well, you will get a really smooth finish if you build up layers and layers. So at the moment you can still see bits of the black poking through, so you might like that look. That doesn't bother me for today, but if I spent a bit more time building and building even more, that would go really, really smooth. So let's go the darkest one, I think, for this time. And then we can die cut these out and arrange them on the card. Green's my absolute favourite colour, as you probably gathered from my packaging on the brand. So anything kind of nature inspired, reminds me of gardens and things I absolutely love. And then when I mix those greens with like neutrals and metallics, that's my absolute favourite look. Okay, so that's all our colouring done for now. So we've got 2 of the mint and the thyme there. That's looking nice with the gold and the green. So let's die cut them out. So you get your outlines. You do get some dies as well for the sentiments, which I don't need for this particular project, but they're there for you. So let's do this sheet first. Really nice and easy to line up because they only fit one way. and you can see around them. Run those through my machine. Just going to go back in with the heat gun. I think I spotted a little corner there that hadn't quite set. That's better. I should have die cut these before colouring with the pencils. Look, you can see it's lifted off some of the colour. Not to worry, we can go back in and blend that pretty easily. But there's a bit of a learn for future ones. But it would be easy enough to die cut them and then colour. There we go. Crisis averted. So one time, one mint. I think maybe just this tape is pretty, for a low tack tape, it's actually a pretty high tack one. So let's see if we can be a bit clever about this and get like the minimum amount on there. So I'll just pop those aside for a moment. And there we go. So what I want to do is have them, as I say, coming in from the side of the card. To give it a bit of layering, I'm going to just stamp a couple more of the smaller of the herb images around the edge of this panel that's going to be mounted onto the 5x7 card blank. So for a bit of variation, I'm not going to butt it up to the edge because I need to be able to get all the way around it. My sentiment's going to go in the middle, so I know I don't want to stamp there. So, yeah, and for a bit of variation, maybe let's do these in another ink colour. Let's see if I've got my grey. So it'll look like little pencil sketches behind. So I definitely want to use the littler versions of the stamp. And let's go in with another one of those because we've got two mints. One time there, so let's put them around. And they can kind of be poking out from underneath then the other ones that we'll layer on the top. Let's do a little more. A bit sketchy. Just clean that off, and then before I take this out the Eureka, I may as well do my sentiment on here as well. So let's use the Good Times one. If I pop that across the middle. This is quite a scripty font, and it has got some like gaps in some of the letters where it would be like a calligraphy style font. So you can actually colour them in if you want. I'm just going to stamp it in black today, but you'll see when I stamp it out where you could fill in the gaps either with a contrasting colour, or you could go in with a black fine liner and make it a thicker font. And you see you've got these extra little gaps there. Good times. Okay, just give it a double stamp just to make it really black in comparison to that grey. That's lovely. So let's build it all together. You know, as a clean and simple card, I think that looks, you know, you could do more like that and just colour straight onto the card if you wanted to. I'm just adding the extra bits for texture and show you how the dies work really. So I've got a 5x7 white card blank, a piece of black card that I've cut down ready, just to give a small border. So just cut it slightly smaller than the card blank, and then this panel that I worked on, I pre-cut that slightly smaller again. So now to lay these on. Now I'm just kind of doing it on the fly of where I'm going to place things, but if you wanted to, you could absolutely, before you do these back stamps, get your die cuts and you know, plan out exactly where you're going to put those extra pieces. I want them to stand up a little bit, so I'm going to get some foam pads. So I definitely want, don't think I want those times kind of together, those two big ones. Should have it maybe coming out over here. I like those bits where they're kind of loose there. Yeah, there, about there I think. That's going to sit under that solid bit there. I'm going to use some of the smaller ones to hold up the branches a bit more. I have got some black ones of these as well somewhere, so they don't show as much, but I haven't got them with me today. I definitely recommend getting some black foam pads for when you're doing black die cuts, because it really, or even navy, because it really does then make a difference. Yeah, that was about right, wasn't it? Just take the bits off. This is probably the fiddlier one because you've got those extra branches, but the mints are pretty easy to put down. And don't worry about anything hanging off the edge, we're going to deal with that at the end. So then try and do things where you get a different, rather than say that's the same way and having the same bit come out onto the card. If you kind of turn them, it's kind of like that one there, and then maybe actually just a smaller bit of this one. So you've got a different bit coming. Then we can always have a little bit over here of what we cut off there too. Try not to waste any foam pads and not put them where I don't need them as well. If you know someone that's into their cooking or their gardening as well, this would be a lovely card for them. Or just anybody who likes the greens and the golds like I do. I don't want to go over that sentiment. Just that little bit there. Okay, so then if you turn over, you can, oh, I've got some extra. You just trim off. If you do it from the back, you won't end up doing any extra that you don't mean to. You can use your scissors along the edge of the card. Neaten up a little. Again, you can spend a bit of extra time. And then let's have, just to even out, let's have this bit. Come out there. I think that'll give it some nice balance then. Lovely, I think that's nice and balanced. You've got that lovely gold. Let's clear this down and show you. So a bit of a different look, not so girly and pretty than some of the other floral cards we do, but hopefully like a different way for you to see. Try and get the light on that gold. That's it. Is it getting it? It's more from when you do it from above. There we go. So just a nice way to layer up your stamps and your dies and make the sentiment a focal point in the middle. Sometimes we do it as a last resort, the sentiment, and do it kind of to the side, whereas if you stick it slap bang in the middle and build your design round it, it just gives a different effect, doesn't it? So I hope you enjoyed that. So I will see you, I am back in the studio here live at 1 o'clock on Thursday, but before then, if you're around, please do join me for the live shows on Create and Craft and the new release, even if you just join in for the demos, so you can get some more inspiration for you crafting. I will be on Create and Craft, which is, let me think of the channels, 683 on Sky, 748 on Virgin, and 95, I think, on Freeview, but double check on their website as well, because sometimes they do change the channel numbers, and I will be there 12:45 lunchtime on Wednesday the 7th. Take care, and I'll see you then.